Hey y'all, it's Danielle from Black Business Boom and Black Owned Nashville, and we are live with the Davidson County Criminal Court Judge Division 5 candidate, Khadija Babb. How are you today, Khadija?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you for having me, Danielle, and giving me this opportunity to speak to your group, to speak to the
Yes.
people of Nashville.
Absolutely. I'm really excited. I think it's just so important that we learn from the folks that are running for these seats and that we just don't assume that we align with their values, but we
Yes,
take the time to really get to know them and that we also go out and vote. So
right.
what we're going to do today is get to know Khadija a little bit better, learn a little bit about her platform, and again, I just think it's amazing that we have a Black woman that's even running and
I,
has the possibility of being in this position. So, Khadija, tell us a little bit about you. Are you from Nashville?
yes, so I am a native Nashvilleian. I actually graduated from a Metro Nashville public school, Nashville School of the Arts. Where I ran track for Pearl Cone at that time as well. I ran track for a long time. We went to the state a couple of times. My family is from here. A lot of people know my great uncle. He is the Reverend Dr. Morgan Babb. He was the first Black man to start a radio show from the ground up, a radio station from the ground up here in Nashville, Tennessee. So a lot of people know him. But yes, I am a Nashville girl through and through. So yes.
Okay. And then you ended up practicing law. Is that right?
That's right. So after graduating from high school, I actually got an academic scholarship to attend the University of Tennessee. So I went to UT for undergrad as well as for law school. And while I was in law school, I was able to do like some advocacy work, and then as a student attorney. And then I worked for a while in Knoxville, but then I decided that I wanted to come home and just really make some change in my own community. So I moved back home and I began practicing criminal defense.
Okay. And I don't blame you for coming back from Knoxville.
I know. I'm so happy I came back. I came back at the right time too. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
happy
spent some
that I
time
came
there
back.
for work and I don't
It's
have to ever
different.
go back.
It's different. It's different.
I love it. So, how long have you been practicing here in Nashville?
So I have been back in Nashville since 2015. So when I came back, I had met with Courtney Teasley, which I'm sure some of you all know. And she, I was so worried about getting a job. I'm like, Courtney, where can I work? What can I do? I mean, I was looking for any type of job pretty much, to try to just get my feet wet. And she said, well, you can work for yourself. And I was like, oh, okay. So she showed me how to go about taking appointments in criminal court. So I took a lot of appointments, and appointments are basically cases that you take to represent indigent clients, to represent people who can't afford an attorney. So I did thousands of those. And after I began to really understand some of the pitfalls and some of the struggles that people who are indigent have, and most of the people who are indigent are people of color, are Black people. So I was like, what else can I do? I have to be able to do something a little bit more, because as a defense attorney, it's a noble job. You have to have the skin you have to have the mental, capacity to take on all these people's problems. But I felt like I was helping one person at a time. So I said, well, what can I do that's kind of on a bigger scale? So I went to the district attorney's office, which is quite honestly something that I thought that I would never, ever do in my life. I've always wanted to be an attorney, Danielle, but I never expected that I would go to the district attorney's office. Never. But
Why? Why is it?
because I had, growing up, I just had the viewpoint that I'm sorry, let me, this light just
Oh,
went out. Hold on.
oh, we can still hear you though. There you go.
Okay, so I had I was of the perception, of course, the prosecutors are part of the system. They're the enemy.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be an attorney. The whole purpose I wanted to be an attorney in the first place was because I wanted to represent people who couldn't afford an attorney. I wanted to be that person that they could look to and say, oh, she looks like me. So I know that she understands my plight. So for those reasons, I never thought that I would join the district attorney's office. But joining the district attorney's office, it allowed me to get inside of the system and learn some of the inner workings of the system and be a voice for people who are traditionally underrepresented. So that's what I did. So as a district attorney, I worked in juvenile court, and I actually learned a lot about trauma-informed approaches to criminal justice and restorative justice. So I learned some new ways to approach criminal justice, and that leads me to where I am today, which is running for criminal court, because I want to bring some new and innovative ways of thinking about criminal justice to the criminal court system.
Okay, so here in Nashville, we know that it's a very white place. It is. So I'm just curious, how the journey has been since you've decided to join this race.
It's been a journey. I'll say that. It's been a journey, but you know what? And I know you can attest to this. I'm quite honestly, black women, we always rise to the occasion. So, I think we're used to obstacles. We're used to people saying that we're not enough. We're used to, our academically being diminished. We're used to being diminished in so many spaces. So for me, whatever obstacles that I faced as a black woman on this journey is just what I feel like comes with the territory. And at the end of the day, I feel like if I'm not willing to do it, then who's going to do it? So it doesn't
Somebody,
matter
yeah,
what
somebody got
exactly
to do it. It may as well be
gotta
you.
do so
I
so it's
love
been
it.
a great journey. I have learned a lot about myself. I've learned even more about the inner workings of the Nashville criminal
Mhm.
justice system and political system in general. But at the end of the day, we as black women, we take our licks and we keep it pushing. So it's
I
not,
love it.
nothing has stopped me and nothing's gonna stop me. Even after this journey, I will continue to fight for what's right. So it's been a
So
journey and a great.
having a different background from those that have typically sat in the seat, what could we expect to see differently, happen differently when you get in
There
office?
we go. So when I get in office, so one of the primary things that I have been running on is creating a trauma-informed court. And a trauma-informed court is simply being aware that everybody that comes into that court system and that sits in that courtroom, whether it's me, whether it's my court staff, we all have our own traumas, right? And I think too many times people may look at somebody who's been charged with a crime, and yeah, they're coming into, the courtroom, maybe they have an attitude. Yeah, they're scared. Yeah, they're nervous. I mean, nobody wants to be in criminal court. So my approach is going to be understanding that people have traumas and figuring out a way to address those traumas. Because at the end of the day, 90% of the people who end up in jail or who are incarcerated, they're going to come back into the community. And most of the time when they are incarcerated and they are in jail, they have not received the resources to heal from the trauma that they've experienced, and on top of the fact that they don't have a living, the ability to have to work a job where they can get a living wage, and that's something that's totally separate. But I'm thinking about the fact that we haven't given them the resources to heal from what they've experienced, and then on top of that, the trauma that they can experience while being incarcerated. So my approach is going to be trauma informed. I've been talking to community leaders, community organizers. I've been talking to victims' rights groups about how I can create a trauma informed courtroom, and so that I can give people the resources that they need to be able to remain in the community, but also be, contributing citizens to society. And that's one thing I say about voter restoration. If people are charged with a crime and they do their time and they pay their fees, why aren't we making it easier for them to get their rights back? Because they're not going to be invested in the community if they can't even decide the people who are governing them.
Right, right. I
No,
love
so
it.
so I really want to, and some of the specific things then, yeah, that I want to do is I want to create a restorative justice program, which is basically a program that's for victims. And I have actually talked to victims' rights groups, and that's something that they want to see, because when victims go into court, the decision at the end of the day is going to be up to the attorneys, right? The victim might be able to make a victim impact statement at the most, and then the person who has caused them harm is going on to jail. And at the end of the day, at that point, everybody in that situation is victims. Nobody's been healed from the system that we have currently. So restorative justice is just an option to give to victims to be able to confront the person who has caused them harm. So that's a different approach that we can take to criminal justice. And that's something that I actually had practiced doing while I was in juvenile court. And it's really refreshing for victims, for families. It's really refreshing for all sides to be able to confront each other. And then the victim gets to know the person that caused them harm and understand their life story, and it just creates just a better atmosphere and a better environment and an overall safer community at the end of the day.
I love it. Now there are a few black folks that are running for judges in Nashville, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yes,
Like I'm
yes.
really excited to see that, we are stepping up, we're taking charge, and taking a chance on stepping out there in Nashville, which again has been historically white.
Yes.
Just on behalf of everyone, Black that is trying to get, a seat as a judge, why is it important that we vote for Black folks to be in these positions? Why is it important that we see folks that look like us that are judges in the criminal courts?
Okay. So the first thing I'll say is that make sure that everyone is doing their research on the people who are running for judge, whether even if they are Black. Because at the end of the day, we need to look at people's track record. We need to really see what they are about, even if they are Black, because we don't want to go into this thinking that somebody looks like us and they're going to represent the morals and values of this community, and they don't, because that's dangerous. So I'm just encouraging everybody, first of all, to make sure you do your research, ask questions, don't be afraid to ask questions, and really, really do your own research and learn who you're voting for. And then I say that to say you can definitely vote for me because my morals and values reflect the Black community. But the biggest thing is just cultural competency, being able to understand the plight of a people. I keep saying this, and I go to these forums and I keep saying the same thing, but I have no idea how you can make decisions about a community, about a people, if you're not involved in the community and you don't understand them. I just, so for me, I grew up right here in Nashville in a single parent household. I had my own struggles while I was young. I worked hard to get to where I am today. And, I say we all have done something that could have landed us in jail, quite
Oh,
honestly.
yeah. I know I have.
So, I understand that. I just understand the plight of the people who are going to come before me. And that's what you need. You need that compassion. You need passion and compassion and empathy, because at the end of the day, like I said, we're meeting people in this courtroom at the worst time in their life. Most people, whether it's a victim, whether it's a person who has been charged, this is the worst time of everybody's life. So the biggest thing is being able to understand and to be able to listen and understand where they're coming from, and what they've been through to get them to the point that they are today. Because if we don't address the past, then they're not going to have any hope for the future. Putting them in jail and just suspending their life is not enough. It's not working. We're still dealing with mass incarceration. So whatever we're doing is not working. So we have to do something else.
I love it. Where can we find out more about your platform? I've been opening up kind of my platform to give the opportunity for folks to come on and talk about their platforms. But if they want to learn more about Khadija Babb and your platform, how can they go about doing that?
Okay, so everything is Babb for Judge. So for one, you can go on my website, which is www.babbforjudge. That's BABB for judge.com. Or you can follow me on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm on Twitter as well. I'm on TikTok, which, one of my niece convinced me to get on there. I don't do that. But it is a couple videos on TikTok, so I'm on there. But everything is going to be Babb for Judge, and then, of course, babbforjudge.com. I encourage you all to send me any questions you may have to my email. I encourage you all to send me messages on Instagram. I do have somebody that does my social media, but they will forward the questions to me, and we can figure out a way to answer your questions. But please, 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 please do your research, and that includes on me. Do your research.
I love it. This was fantastic. Also, I want to know, how can we support? What is something that we can do as a community if we believe in your mission, we believe in what you're trying to do in the criminal court system? What can we do as a community to support you and make sure that you get there?
Okay, so for one, you can always go to my website, and I would love to have volunteers. If anybody wants to volunteer on my campaign, that would be awesome. I've seen people have been changing their Facebook photo. Oh, gosh, go this light again. I'm sorry. Goodness. You can change your Facebook.
That timer ain't no joke.
You can change your Facebook profile to, my logo, and I can send it to you if you want to do that. Please tell your people about me and what I stand for. And then, the law prevents me for asking for donations, but I can forward you all to Courtney Teasley if you're interested in finding out other ways to support me. But those are just a few of the ways, but really just getting the word out and spreading the message about Vote for Babb on May 3rd. That is the biggest thing. And please, don't just spread the word and then when May 3rd comes, don't go vote. Please go vote. Please go vote. That's the
All
biggest.
right. We showing up on May 3rd. If
You
you're in
got
Davidson County, we're going to be voting for Khadija Babb for the criminal court judge of Division 5.
That's
All right. So
right.
look for Babb on the ballot. Look
There
for
we go.
Babb on the ballot on May 3rd. Thank you so much, Khadija. It was wonderful getting to know more about you. I'm very proud of you, extremely proud of you and what you're doing. We wish you all the best, and we're going to continue to support and tell folks that there is a Black woman that's
There
out
we
here running for
go.
judge,
Yes, yes.
and we will encourage them to do their research and learn that you are for the people of Nashville, especially for the Black community. Again, super proud of you. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much for joining me, and thanks
Yes,
so
thank
much
you
for
for
tuning
having me.
in, everybody.
Thank
Have
you.
a great
Hey, we'll have to
evening.
do this again, not just around election time.
Yes, yes,
We have to do this again.
absolutely.
But thank you so much, Danielle, for what you do for our community, and thank you for hosting these forums and these interviews so that people can, know who's out there, who we can vote for, and
Yeah,
just holding elected officials and candidates accountable for
yeah.
because now this is recorded. You're gonna
Right,
say this.
right. You
And this
told
is
us.
what I said exactly. This is what I
We
said I was
lied.
going to do. So now you can hold me accountable. So thank
I
you for
love it.
for
That's
having me on.
very
I appreciate
important. I love it. And thanks for your willingness to open up and share with
it. Oh
us.
yeah,
We
definitely.
appreciate you. And again, we wish you all the best, and we're here to support you.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a